to get going. All right? So you're ready for practice test 2, question number 8.
Yeah.
That's where we're ready. So practice test 2, question number 8. Here is the general formula which will be given to you. And we're going to keep reminding ourselves, if the question is on the practice, it's on the test. If it's not on the practice, then it's not on the test. So we are going to know everything on these 3 practice tests, okay? So here we go. Step 1, write the equation for this problem. All that means is, read the problem, and you're going to put a number in here and a number in here. That's it. Now, you can leave that S of T. I usually put an H there because that reminds me that it is height. But you can leave it S of T, you can use Y, you can use whatever you want. Always negative 16t squared, never changes. What is the initial velocity? 80. So we put an 80, and there is a t hooked to that. And then what is our initial height? 20. We're throwing it off at 20-foot building. Okay? Stella's put on our calculator. She knows this is what we do now. So first we're going to go to Zoom 6, just in case somebody's messed up our calculator. Because Zoom 6 is going to give us this picture. Oh, wait, I didn't read question B. Question B is, how high is the ball after 1 second? Well, I don't need a calculator for that. What do? If I want to know how high the ball is,
plug it in.
I just plug in
1.
4
X.
T's, or X, yeah. The T's or the X's. So the height after 1 second is going to be negative 16 times 1 squared plus 80 times 1 plus 20. You can use a calculator to help you with that arithmetic, but you don't need to graph it. Negative 16 plus 80 plus 20, I'm getting 84 feet, but I could have added wrong. Is that what you got? Yeah. And we label all of our answers. And since we want to know how high is the ball, it's going to be feet. Always feet in this equation. Okay?
Do we have to show work for that all the time?
Yeah, you should show at least this much work, yeah. Show me how you got that
If
answer.
when I do it, I'll just do a second.
Okay, then you have to write down, this is what I did,
Okay.
okay? I can't just see an answer, you have to tell me where it came from. Now, C is the one that we need to graph, because we are interested in where the ball hits the ground. This is where it's gonna go up, to come down, and hit the ground. So I'm gonna go, I've already Zoom 6, I'm gonna go Y equals. I already have an equation in there from yesterday or something, so I'm gonna hit clear, and then I'm gonna type in my new equation. And when I type it in, this is the negative, look where my finger is, this is the negative. Do not put the minus, it will not work. Negative 16x squared.
Man, she's doing it now, but I got
Plus 80x plus 20, and hit graph. Now, did you see it, you were close here, but did you see it coming up like this?
Yeah.
And then it kind of goes up, kind of follows along, and then all of a sudden it comes back down over here?
Yes. 5.23.
This,
5.2.
wait a second, you're awesome, but wait a second. This is the point I want, right? When does the ball hit the ground? I want to know that point right there.
Yeah. So
Right? So, what?
I'm just excited.
Calm down. It's okay. So, to find that point, and remember, being close isn't good enough. You're going to be exactly on. You're going to be right like me.
You want it like us to round
So
up?
we're going to be second trace 0. Now, you need to set a left bound, which is over here, and a right bound, which is over here. You need a cursor to do that. I don't even see my cursor, but it tells me where it is. It's up here at 0, 20. So I know it's got to go that way. So So I'm gonna right arrow over until I see my cursor. It's gonna come down right here eventually. Oop. There it went. I came, so then I'm gonna press enter when it's up here somewhere. And then I'm gonna move it so it's down here, so I'm still right arrowing. So it's over here somewhere, press enter. And then I need my cursor to be in between those two. It isn't going to hit right on, but get it in between, somewhere in there, and hit enter. What did you say it was, Jose?
Do you want to round up?
5 point, let's go to 1,000. So 5.2
3, 8.
will be 86,
Yes.
which is 9. Yep. So 5.239 seconds. When does the ball hit the ground? 5.239 seconds.
You want us all to the towns?
Well, whatever the test says, there's no directions on here, but there will be on your test. Okay.
I had to
All right.
figure it out
So
first.
one
At
more
first it was always
problem
an
on
argument.
practice test
Now
2.
you hit root and just give me the answer.
Problem 9. What am I doing in problem 9? Distance formula. And when you say to me distance formula, you are going to think about this. That's the distance formula.
Yep.
What? Yep, Jack. Emergency? Is your phone in the door?
Yeah.
How does the distance formula work?
X minus X is a lot like that.
Very good. So I take x minus x plus y minus y, and I square these guys. We're squaring them. So x minus x squared, y minus y squared. All right, now 6 minus 4 is 2, squared is 4. 11 minus 1 is 10, squared is 100. So now I'm going to add those, and I get the square root of 104. What do we always do whenever we have a radical as an answer? What do we think about? Does it break down? Well, I know 2 goes into it. So it's 2 times 52. And I know 52 is another 2, so it'll be 2 times 26. 26 is another 2, 2 times 13.
Yep.
So when I simplify, I have to have 2 of something.
Yep, you got 2 and 2.
So I got 2 2's right here. So I know a 2 is coming out. No, be careful. Leftover is not just 13, but also another 2. So leftover is 26. Remember, everything's multiplied. Everything's multiplied. So if you say root 104, you're going to get almost all the points. But if you want all the points, you have to break it down to this.
Do we have to show the work for that?
Probably some work, not necessarily all that, but you should probably show something. Yeah. Okay. I don't want you to run your calculator if that's what you're asking me.
Say it again.
I don't want you to do it on your calculator. I want you to know how to do it. Okay. Last question. Same 2 points. Now I'm going to find midpoint. How do I find midpoint? The answer is going to be a point. Average. So I take my x's and add them and divide by 2. And I take my y's and add them and divide by 2. Average x, average y. Okay? So 4 plus 6, 10, divided by 2, 5. 4 plus 11, 12, divided by 2, 6. So that one works out nice. Sometimes we get fractions, not the end of the world, no big deal. All right? 2 tests done, ready for number 3. Here we go. Which property is shown? Somebody better be able to tell me number A, letter A. Distributive. A is distributive. Nobody misses that one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you know what either one of the other two are?
Associative. No.
Commutative. B is commutative of addition. Why is it commutative? Because what changed, guys? The order. And when the order changes, we are commutative. So we write commutative addition. You can abbreviate it. COMM, add.
What's associative?
Associative is when the order stays the same but the grouping changes. If you look at this problem, Izzy, on both sides, what's grouped? X and Y. I didn't change that. What changed was the order of the letters and numbers. That's always commutative. Quigley?
Is commutative different than commutative additive?
No, there's, commutative always has to be
Yeah, Mama.
linked with an operation. So we never say just commutative.
Okay.
We say commutative of addition or commutative of multiplication. Okay?
Yeah.
Never just commutative.
Okay.
So if you say just commutative, you'll get half credit, because you're half right. You gotta have an operation in it.
Will you take points off if it's spelled wrong?
No,
Okay.
you can abbreviate too, as long as I can tell what it is.
Okay.
I do wanna mention though, because it's one of my pet peeves, the word commutative is like commuting to school, like your commute. There is no N in that word. Communities are something different. Commutative has no N's, so try not to put it in. I'm not gonna count it wrong, but don't put it in. Alright, what about C? Somebody said additive identity, that's it, it's the additive identity. If you are adding 0, what have you done? Nothing, right? You get the identical answer back again. Additive identity. What's the multiplicative identity?
Where you are multiplying the added.
Multiplying by 1. Adding 0 and timesing by 1 are identities. You don't change anything. Nope. Right? Okay? Alright, number 2. Got a big set of solving now. So what do you think of when you look at problem number 2A? Quadratic formula. Note, Keith, that, and the rest of you, are there any special directions associated with this problem? No. No. So therefore, you can solve this any way you want. And for most of us, when we see that right there, we immediately think quadratic formula. You might try to factor it. You might try to complete the square. I never would in a million years complete the square because you have to divide by 4 and get all those fractions. But those are other options, and it doesn't tell you how you have to do it. All right, let's use quadratic formula. Here we go. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of, I have no idea what b squared is. I'm gonna figure it out. 729 minus 4 times negative 7. All over the whole shebang, over 8 to 8. Now, I want every little beady little eye focused on me. I gotta say this one more time. This is my last chance before the test. See these 2 negatives right here? You are not subtracting. You are going to add. That's gonna be an add. So 729 plus whatever, 4 times 4 times 7 is 112. So now I have 27 plus or minus the square root of, what is it?
29.
841. And Jose said the square root of 841 is actually 29. Now, this is a big number. I'm going to try to stay away from these great big numbers. But the fact is, you have a calculator, right?
Yeah.
So you can try the square root of 841. Okay, it's 29. What if it had come out to be 37.698543, then you would have to break it down, just like we did our radical earlier. But this one breaks down perfectly, it's 29. You're not done. So what are your answers? 27 plus 29 over 8, and 27 minus 29 over 8. So what's 27 plus 29? 56 over 8, which is 7. And the other one is negative 2 over 8, which is negative 1/4. This problem actually did factor. And if you factored it, you would get exactly the same answer. See that? But it's okay, if you didn't notice it factored, you always have the quadratic formula. All right, B, what happens in problem B?
Subtract the 2, add the 2 over to the 2, x.
Joshua, what do I do with this question? I split it into 2, that's exactly right. This is the problem that gets split into 2.
What do you add? You have to split it into 2 first?
Yes,
You
yes.
can't just solve it and do the other one?
Splitting into 2 first. Don't, Jose, trust me. We're gonna split into 2 first. So x minus 2 less than or equal to 3,
5.
and then x minus 2 greater than or equal to negative 3. Remember that little deal? So now we'll add the 2 to both sides, Jose, so we get x less than or equal to 5. And, because this is a less than problem, and x greater than or equal to negative 1. Now this problem we just finished was an equals problem. So in the answer blank, we wrote x equals 7, x equals negative 4. This is an inequality, so my answer is going to be an interval. So I'm going to look at the number line. Here's 5, shaded this way. Here's negative 1, shaded this way. And since it has to be both, it's going to be the part in between here. So as an interval, bracket negative 1, bracket 5. The arrows are not part of the problem this time, they're not part of the answer, so please don't put an infinity. If it's the section in between, it's just number and number. Okie dokie, Smokies, next. What do we do with this next one?
You already did.
I heard somebody say common denominator.
What?
What do you want to use as your common denominator? 24?
Yeah, did you not do that?
Okay, let's use 24. Perfect. So we'll multiply this one by 3 and this one by 8.
You have to switch that sign.
And
You need to divide by the way.
this one by 24. Put a star next to that. Do not forget, every single piece of the problem has to have the denominator.
It's farther left.
Even though you don't see a fraction over there, it has to have the denominator.
You already switched it. That's what you need to do.
Okay? So 9x plus 3 minus 16x minus 8 equals 48.
Just do it without knowing.
If I had a nickel for every time we screwed this up, I would be so rich. See this right here? That's a negative 8. And I'm distributing it. So negative 8 times 2 is negative 16, and negative 8 times 1 is negative 8. Right? All right, let's add them up. So 9 minus 16 is negative 7, and 3 minus 8 is negative 5. Again, boys and girls, you're gonna have a calculator, so do not freak out about the arithmetic. I'm hoping you can do 9 minus 16 on your own, but if you can't, type it in on the calculator, and you have, this. And we're gonna add 5 to both sides, and divide by -7. So again, this is an equals problem. So we're done. No number line, no parentheses, no brackets, just boom, -53
I
cents.
ain't done it. Boom.
Let's see what we got next. More solves. Okay, what do we do for 3A? We're solving, so what do we do?
Take out mix. Well, no, you can, I'd rather, yeah, factors.
Just factor. Now, if the problem like this I give you is gonna be easily factorable, okay? It's gonna be easy to factor. But if you don't wanna factor it, could you use the quadratic formula?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna take longer, but you absolutely could. This one factors pretty handily into what, X,
5 and 2.
5 and 2,
Negative 5.
-5, +2. So what's going through Keith's mind is, I have to have numbers that multiply to 10, so I'm gonna pick 5 and 2, because they have to add to -3, so -5, +2 adds to -3. Perfect. Come on in, Ramon. Go ahead, put it back there, thank you. Now what? This is an inequality, so it's going to be a number line shading intervals as my answer. So what points go on the number line?
-2.
-2 and 5 go on the number line.
I mean, is it the one where it's like straighties?
Next one.
Now, I am going to shade on this number line, right? And I'm either gonna shade in between my numbers or I'm gonna shade outside of my numbers. To figure out where I'm gonna shade, I'm gonna pick one number. And let's pick an easy one, like maybe 0.
Yes.
You could pick 6 or 7 or -18. I don't care what you pick. 0 is easy to use. 0 is in here, correct?
Yes.
So it's either gonna work or not work. If it works, I'm gonna shade it. If it doesn't work, I will shade the outsides.
Yep.
All right, so here we go. Zeros in here give me -5 times 2. -5 times 2 is -10. Is -10
No.
bigger than 0? No. So since it didn't work, I'm not going to shade here. I am going to shade out here. And so my answer will be -infinity to -2 or 5 to infinity. Mr. Quigley?
You suggest using 0, like,
I don't care what you use. I like to use 0 because it's so easy, to work with, but you don't have to use 0, you use whatever you want. That's not enough.
So can you like do a quadratic formula on all factoring problems?
Yep.
Okay.
And what it's gonna do is give me, it'll come out to be -2 and 5,
Gotcha.
and then you won't have the factors, you'll have to plug your number into the original
Okay,
bracket.
so if I feel more comfortable doing it.
Totally.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right, here we go, Jose. This is the kind of problem that could potentially have extraneous roots. Because how are we going to do this problem?
You squared.
Square both sides. So x plus 5 equals 36, and it looks like my answer is 31.
Yes.
Then if I want to check it, I'll take that 31 and put it in for x. Does that work out?
Yep.
What's 31 plus 5?
6.
36, and the square root of 36 is?
6.
6. Yeah.
31 is
Yeah.
correct.
Alright, well, that was short and sweet. This next one is not.
Where do you put extraneous?
What do I do with problem C?
But what if you write a training for another one?
Action.
What do I do?
Action.
No.
Aaron, is that what you do?
It's no problem. What do you want? What do you want?
X squared from here. So this one has too many terms to do the old factoring thing with, right? Too many terms. So I'm gonna group it, do 2 terms at a time. So if I group these two and Maren said take out x squared, I would be left with x minus 2. Perfect. So then, Maren, I gotta take something out of the last two. What will that be? -9. And that also is gonna leave me with x minus 2. Now, guys, remember, you're dividing out a -9. What's positive divided by a -9 is going to be a negative, right? So those match the x minus 2's. The leftovers are x squared minus 9, and what do you know about x squared minus 9?
Break down more.
It breaks down more, how?
X minus 3, X plus 3.
Perfect. In either order. Order doesn't matter.
-2, 2. I mean, -2,
So
-3.
you set, no. Set these equal to 0 and solve them. So if x
Oh,
minus
plus 2.
2 equals 0,
It's
then
positive 2.
x equals 2.
Ooh.
X equals 3, and x equals
Negative.
-3.
This four's right all
Set
along.
your factors equal to 0.
So facts.
Now, Diego, this is an example of a step I wouldn't expect to see. I don't need to see this. Most of you are gonna go straight from here to here. But if you get confused, you write that step down, so you get the right answer. All right, part 4, simplify, all right? What are we doing here? What are we doing? I'm gonna distribute the negative. Because I'm subtracting, right? And then I will collect like terms.
0.
So, yeah,
Minus
0
1 I.
minus 1i.
You
Now,
want us to put that 0?
you do not have to put the 0, and you do not have to put the 1. You could write just negative I. It doesn't matter to me whether you put the 0 and the negative 1.
How do you get, oh, because 4 minus 4.
Yeah. Collect like terms. All right, now we got this guy, which is a much bigger problem. So who remembers how we simplify that?
Multiply that in monitor.
Multiply top and bottom by
Denominator.
2 minus 3i.
Oh,
We call it the conjugate. You don't need to know the word, you just need to remember, you change the middle sign. So if that's a minus, you make it a plus. If it's a plus, I made it a minus, right? And then I just start boiling, boiling it all out. Baby, you okay? You already did it? Perfect. So 16, I'm doing FOIL, F-O-I-L. So first, outsides, insides, last. First, outsides, insides, last.
so first.
All right, now I start cleaning up this mess. So always you can add your i's together. So that's gonna be negative 28 I up top. And then you gotta remember what about I squared?
It becomes,
It's negative 1.
becomes the
So
whole
this
number.
is really a minus 6,
Yes.
which gets added to 16 and leaves me with a 10.
Yes.
And then on the bottom, same thing, only this time, these cancel. And that's gonna become a plus sign.
Yes.
So on the bottom, I have a
13.
done. Alright, now we have our exponent problem. Remember, if it's on the practice test here, it's on the test. So tomorrow, on Friday, you will have to simplify one big thing like this. Alright, so Izzy, what's your thought about maybe something to do to get started?
I reduced the fraction first.
Okay, so Izzy says, I got an 8 over a 28. So what, 4 will go into both of those, so that would be 2 over 7, like regular fractions. Now, Izzy, on here, can I go ahead and move my negatives around?
Yeah.
So this x is going to the top. That guy's staying in the bottom. This x is coming down to the bottom. And that y is also coming down to the bottom. So did everybody catch that this goes up and these two come down?
Yes.
So now, I've already done the 2 and the 7. So now I'm gonna look at my x's. I have 10 of them on the top and 5 of them on the bottom. Obviously, they're going to cancel out. And when they cancel out, since there's more on the top, I'll be left with some extras up there, 5 extras on the top. Now my y's do not cancel. Look, aren't they both on the denominator? So they get combined. 3 and 8's gonna make 11. And there's your answer. Alright, 6 is the easy problem, but it's only gonna be easy to those of you that have learned what a circle looks like. We talked about this yesterday. What does a circle look like?
Round.
Eggs.
I don't mean the shape of circle, I mean the equation of the circle. What does the equation of the circle look like?
Eggs. Eggs opposites on.
An x squared
And plus y.
plus a y squared
And r squared.
equal to r squared. That's what the equation looks
And
like.
that's it.
They told me that my center is at -4, -3, and my radius is the square root of 6.
And that's it.
So what goes in these parentheses is the opposite of the center, right? So this is gonna be x plus 4, y plus 3, and then this guy is going to be the radius squared. So what happens when you square the square root of 6? You just get 6.
Yep.
There's your equation.
Just 6.
That's it.
That's it. 0 work, 0 to understand. You learn what an equation of a circle looks like, and you plug in your numbers. Clearly?
So it's just the opposite of the center?
Yep,
Okay.
every time. Number 7, write the equation of the line containing 3 -2
The
and
equation.
6 4.
Wait, what do you mean?
Alright? Here we go. How do we write the equation of a line? Somebody tell me, I'm gonna come after you if you
Find
don't.
slope.
Find the slope. You gotta know your slope, right? Gotta know your slope. Can't write the equation without the slope. So how do we find slope?
Y minus y over
There
x
we
minus
go.
x.
Y minus y over x minus x. Now, kids, everything you do, distance, midpoint, slope, it's the y's together and the x's together. Don't be mixing x's and y's. So y minus y, x minus x. So what do I get? 6 over 3, 2. My slope is 2. Now what do I do?
Just pick a point.
Pick a point. Got any preference?
Don't matter.
No, it don't matter. How about it doesn't matter and it truly doesn't matter, right? You can pick either one.
Doesn't matter.
So let's go with this one, there's no negatives to worry about. So y minus 4 equals 2x minus 6.
That's it?
Done. Point slope, finish.
This
I have a
was
question.
36,
So,
then you
like,
write
with
6
the
at
only
the end.
times that we start using with the y's is when we're finding
If
the
this was
slope.
36,
It's like
then
when
we
we do the
write 6
distance, we can do the x's
But then
first.
You can,
perfect
yeah, you
radius.
can, you can also, the distance formula, do the y's first, it doesn't matter. But when you do midpoint, it must be x's, y's, cause that's a point.
Okay,
Parentheses
and
36
then when we're also
equals
finding
no
midpoint,
radius.
that's the only time we add them
Yep.
together?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, because midpoint is average, and average is that.
Now we're gonna do like this.
Okay, B, we gotta be perpendicular to this line, perpendicular, and we have to contain the point 1, 2. Now, you guys, listen. You just wrote the equation of a line. Here, you got to pick your point, you got a choice. Do I have a choice here?
Oh, no.
So I know whatever it is, it's gonna be y minus 2 equals something x minus 1. Would you agree with me? The only thing I need to find is the slope. Agreed? Now, I don't have 2 points, so I'm not gonna do slope the same way I did before. What does perpendicular mean?
Yeah.
Opposite reciprocal slope. So I need to find the slope of this equation. How do I find the slope of that given equation?
Isolate the y.
I have to, somebody said isolate the y. I gotta get y by itself. So 3x minus 9y equals 4. I'm gonna get x by itself, and y by itself by moving the x's. Now, this arithmetic can bother some of you. You're subtracting the 3x over to the other side. These do not combine, so I have to write them separately. This is still a negative 9, so I'm gonna divide by negative 9. So now I have y equals, which was my goal. What's 3 over 9? 1/3. And I don't really care about this number because I just need the slope. If I were doing parallel, then I would put a 1/3 right here. Would you agree with me?
Oh, yeah.
But I'm doing perpendicular, which means I need to flip
Flip it
this
and
and
get
make
three.
it negative, negative 3. So the slope is negative 3. Somebody's got different versions of the test. Somebody's gonna have parallel, somebody's gonna have perpendicular. So if it's parallel, you use the same number. If it's perpendicular, you flip it, make it negative. All right? Here we go.
Define
Number
your point
8.
slope.
Come on, we gotta get this done. Number 8 is your projectile motion problem. So we're gonna start with our general formula. And just like all of the problems, the first question is, write the equation for this situation. Okay? So what is the equation for this problem? Read the problem. H equals negative 16t squared plus what? 100t? Don't forget there's a t hooked to that. You can make it an x if you want. Doesn't matter. The variables you use don't matter. And then, what do I put on the end?
0.
0. Why is it 0?
Because they didn't give it to us.
Ground level, okay, they didn't give it to us. But it said ground level. And if you're at ground level, how high above the ground are you?
Not high.
So I am not gonna put plus zero there, but you can if you want. Would it be wrong to put plus 0 there? I don't know. Next question. How high is the ball after 1 second?
Just plug it in.
Plug in 1 for t or x, whatever letter you're using. So the height is negative 16 times 1 squared plus 100 times 1. I think that one's 84 also. Is it 84 feet?
Yeah.
How'd you get one?
Okay, 1 second. Yeah, say 1 second.
Remember, boys and girls, this doesn't mean 16 squared, this means 1 squared times the negative 16. When does the ball hit the ground?
6.25.
Okay, one more time. Zoom 6 makes you get this picture right here. I know this ball is going up and around. I haven't graphed it yet, but just intuitively, I know it's gonna go up and come down, so that's the point I'm looking for, right? So I'm gonna sketch this on my calculator. Y equals, clear out the old, put in the new. Hit graph. Now, again, do not be concerned. In an ideal world, this is what I'm gonna see. But all I really saw was this. Is this what you saw?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That's what I'm looking for, right? So I'm going to second trace 0. This time, I actually have a 0 or have a cursor. It's flashing right here. That is not where I need it. I need it up here somewhere. So I'm going to move it to the right. I just need it to be over here. I may not even see it. I moved it to the right, so it's over here somewhere, and press enter. Now I need to move it, though, using my right arrow. I need to move it a long way because I need it to come down here somewhere. Now I can't even see my cursor, guys, honestly, I haven't seen it, but I'm watching where it is. X, Y. As soon as that Y becomes negative, it means I'm down here somewhere. That's where I need to be. Press enter. Then I need to move it up a little bit. I still don't see it. Oh yeah, I do. There it is. I see it. Press enter. What did you get? I got not a whole number, but a nice number. What did you get?
6.25.
6.25
Seconds.
That's what goes in the answer. 6.25 seconds. All right, so remember, as you're doing this, your cursor has to be somewhere to the right of this point, doesn't matter where, and then it has to be somewhere to the left of this point, doesn't matter where. And then somewhere. All right, last problem, here we go, guys. Last problem, we've already done one of these. We've got 2 points.
That's the calculator.
What
Like,
does this mean?
yeah, push
That
right.
means distance. Now, kids,
Right.
it doesn't matter what order these 2 questions are in. AB means distance. That might be the second. Oh my God.
Are you good?
Are you okay?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
What in the world happened?
I have no idea.
Because you were hanging off the chair. Right.
Jose, please sit down and hold still. Thank you. Okay. So
okay?
this means distance. No matter which question it is, AB means distance. And how do we find distance?
Oh my gosh.
So -2 minus -4 squared, 4 minus 1 squared. To this point, you do that in your order, that doesn't matter. -2 minus -4, 4 minus 1. Watch the arithmetic. Girls,
Sorry, that's on this.
watch the arithmetic. So that's gonna be 2 squared, I got 4. And 3 squared, I got 9. Oh, this is a nice one. I'm done. Because root 13 does not break down in any way. So some of you are gonna get lucky tomorrow, or Friday. You're gonna get numbers like that, and some of you are not gonna get lucky, and you're gonna have to break yours down. Finally, last question. Here we go. What is the midpoint? The midpoint is going to be a point. X must come first in a point. So -4 plus -2 over 2, and 1 plus 4 over 2. You simply add the x's together and divide by 2. So what's -4 plus -2? -4 plus -2 is -6. -6 over 2 is -3. 1 plus 4, 5 over 2, I'll just write 5 over 2. So there is your midpoint. Okay? Now, I want to return your last quizzes. Because I don't think I've done that yet. And some old homework. And then you can ask any last minute questions that you have.
She told me how to do it. I couldn't